Another day in the MLB, one last slate to close out the week, and the work begins. It always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who our top pitchers are, who our top hitters are. We'll also go game by game. We'll check the ownership along the way. We'll check our top stacks too, based off my 100,000 contest sims. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run their sims, see what your top ROI lineups are. I'll do a hand build, and all by the end of this video, guys, you will know all the industry's must plays along my Splash Plays for today, April 10th, 2026. Let's get into it here. Again, one last MLB slate here yesterday. Not the best one for me. I feel like the Miami stuff being the only thing that went off in the slate, despite not a lot of home runs there. It was just some doubles, some RBIs, good run total. That's all it took to win yesterday's slate. For the early one, late slate felt like I got a lot more things right, but didn't play as many lineups. So that's the nature of the beast here. We got a new slate in front of us. We'll do the best we can, as we always do here. And it starts with our top hitters. Aaron Judge, number one overall, 12.2 projection for me, a little bit ahead of Shohei Ohtani. Let's see, does Stokastic agree with that? No, Stokastic would keep it Ohtani number one, Aaron Judge number two. They do have Judge at 11.9 DK points today. Judge, $6,400 salary. For Aaron Judge, he has been a player. This Yankee stack, pretty volatile, which is one of the things we talked about. They do strike out a lot. Do have a lot of guys that rely on game-breaking power, and if they don't get that game-breaking power, then that's it, and the game's going to suck for the most part for them. That said, for how it looks today for Aaron Judge, going against Steven Matz, a guy with a league average home run rate, does give up some decent power to righties as well. Overall, the isolated power of 180 going against him. Not a great strikeout guy as well. Only 19% strikeout rate for him overall. A little bit higher versus righties at 20%, versus lefties 16%. But still a spot where I think for Aaron Judge, despite the only 4.3 implied runs, do think he has a shot at being a good contributor to what they're doing today. So for Aaron Judge, top predict guy, if you wanted to go Ohtani above him, I certainly wouldn't begrudge it. But obviously, if you get either guy in a lineup, I think you're not going to be mad about it, given the power they bring, the upside they bring, the fact that there's a pretty good chance that both guys hit a home run today. Shohei Ohtani at number two, 12.1 fantasy points for me, 12.2 for Stokastic, as you can see on the screen. And Judge is at 17% ownership. Forgot to mention that part. And I'm getting 12% in the sim I ran before the show. Ohtani at 19% field ownership. I'm getting 12% there as well. So both guys looking a little bit over-owned to me. That said, they are your two top protected guys in the slate. For Ohtani, playing in our last game on the slate, actually, going against Kumar Rocker, a guy who does struggle a little bit with home runs, over league average, 3.3% rate there. Going against a lefty, only 3.1%, gets a little bit lower as opposed to the righties he goes against. But Ohtani, 190 ISO going against right-handed pitching. League average K rate, a little bit above that, but barely. 8.3% on run rate. Gets steals at a 6% clip as well. Ohtani is just a guy, I don't need to tell you, he's pretty good at baseball. But obviously, all the underlying numbers there, he doesn't have to hit home runs to find his upside. So Ohtani, I would say, I don't mind having Judge projected higher. If that does make me slightly more unique in some lineups, I'm cool with it. But Ohtani's got the higher Vegas total. He can do a little bit more of everything. 5.3 implied runs today. Really would have no issue going with Ohtani over Judge, even though my data currently does favor him by a little bit. Christian Yelich at number three, Milwaukee, going to be my top stack of the day. Spoiler alert when we get to that portion of the video. But Yelich, one of the guys getting the biggest projection boost, 11.1 DK points for me, 9.1 for Stokastic today. He gets 6.5% ownership for the field. I've got him at 12. For Christian Yelich, think that the Milwaukee stack looking pretty solid overall. Is definitely going to help him be a guy that I get, in a group as opposed to just getting him as a one-off. But I would say with that projection as a one-off, Yelich very playable at 5,500. Really for Yelich today and Milwaukee, the biggest thing is that they have 5.1 implied runs going against Jake Irvin, a guy that gives up a 4.3% home run rate overall. It is a bad Washington bullpen behind him as well, with a 1.55 whip, one of the worst in the slate. 264 batting average given up, one of the worst in the slate as well. And park factors too, for Milwaukee, even though it's pretty cold at 44 degrees, still a positive home run park with 4% more home runs there than everywhere else in the league. So I would say that for how it looks for Christian Yelich in this spot, I think it's one of those things where I'm going to get him more in the field today by a decent amount, getting the Milwaukee stack as well. Also a decent amount here. But I think really the spot for Yelich, definitely over projecting compared to Stokastic. It's always free chat Friday for MLB. I did not put up the members only, but I appreciate that and appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, freshly groomed. I actually did accidentally cut too much of the beard off today because I want to just quickly trim the sides, which I'll do if I don't have a lot of time. Don't want to go to a barber, and that part's fine. But yeah, the beard I definitely fucked up. So hopefully it'll grow back in a little bit better soon. And yes, hope it's a good morning for everybody as well here. Appreciate all you guys watching live, and of course after the fact as well. The slate having some evergreen window today. Hopefully some of you guys will be watching after the back as well. We got We got Kyle Tucker at number 4, 11 fantasy points for me, 9.9 for Stokastic. Fields at 9%, I'm getting 10. For Kyle Tucker, Dodger stack, always happy to get there like we always talk about in these shows. When days when the Dodger stack doesn't pop up, I think for the most part has not been a situation where I'm regretting that either. But really, when we have a decent matchup for the Dodgers, getting these guys in multiples, always a decent thing. Getting these guys as one-off too, just given how good Ohtani is, given how good Tucker is, never a bad thing either. But for what are you doing over there? That is the loudest ripping apart of a toy elephant. A toy elephant she got on Sunday from my mother-in-law and father-in-law's friends. They gave Kitty a toy, and she has destroyed it. She's pulled stuffing everywhere. She is ripping apart the threads as we speak. Great times down there. For Kyle Tucker, though, the biggest thing here is that he's really good. He's 6K, though. Would say that, for him, the production for the Dodgers doesn't have to flow through him. But the fact you have so many guys on base in front of him, often guys as well, like Ohtani, great at base running, can find ways to leg out a, hit into a run being generated for Kyle Tucker. These are things that are positives for him, so happy to get 10%. If the field's going to be at 9. Fernando Tatis on the late slate yesterday. I actually don't know how he did because I didn't look that closely, but 7.4% owned by the field. I've got 10% today. Obviously, a guy with some pop, projection at 10.5 for me, a bit higher than Stokastic's at 8.8. Tatis in this matchup going against Tomoyuki Sugano. Terrible pitching so far for Sugano in the majors. 720 batters faced, so pretty good sample size. 5% on run rate, a 16% K rate. Weather's temperate for San Diego with 67-degree weather. Only wind blowing crossfield. Nothing that's going to benefit him there. But the matchup against Sugano, for a guy that does generate power, like Tatis, always a decent one to see. He has over 200 ISO going against right-handed pitching, 4.5% on run rate. Would say Tatis, I think we're getting to the point of it being a bit of a tier break, behind Tucker, behind Yelich for me with Tatis. But he's over 10 fantasy points. There are not a lot of guys over that mark today. So Tatis, one of those guys hitting it for me. Rafael Devers paid off for us at very low ownership earlier in the week, so we can go back to a little bit today. Devers today getting a matchup going against Shane Baz. Baz, somebody that struggles more versus righties than lefties, so maybe not the ideal matchup for Devers in that respect, but Devers himself, guy that crushes right-handed pitching, 270 ISO against righties, and obviously that's with a lot of his games being played, at the Giants' less hitter-friendly park, so the fact that you are getting a bit of a park upgrade as well in Baltimore, I think a positive thing for Devers. Maybe not the greatest matchup in the world, but the field's at 5%. I think getting Devers at 7, not a crazy thing to see at all. Last but not least, we got George Springer, 6% owned by the field. I've got 7. Also another guy above 10 fantasy points for me, only at 9.3 for Stokastic, which I'd say is close enough. For George Springer, obviously a guy hitting in the leadoff spot, has a little more utility than when he is hitting further down the order. Just getting those extra at-bats, always a positive. Getting 4.9 implied runs against Simeon Woods Richardson, who's not a great strikeout guy, under league average at 21%, a little bit above league average in home runs at 3.2%. Gets barreled pretty hard, though. 10% barreled ball rate, 39% hard hit rate. Those numbers can pay off for Springer. 45-degree weather, though. I feel like Springer, out of all these guys, like Devers, maybe not a great pitching matchup, but I always love him going against right-handed hitting, especially with the park upgrade. Tatis, I think Tatis and Springer I'd rather see a little closer together, personally. MKE won me a spot in the DK Fantasy Baseball World Championship. Okay, there we go. I don't know who we're talking about with MKE, but I'm glad you won that spot, and I hope it works out well for you. FanDuel, top projected plays. We got Aaron Judge, number 1, 15.7 fantasy points for him on FanDuel. Ohtani, 15.5. Yelich, number 3. Tucker, number 4. It's the exact same order, except Freddie Freeman's a little bit higher, it looks like, replacing our bottom guy on DraftKings. We're going to look at our top pitchers now. Before we do that, one quick ask, guys. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. These MLB videos, relatively new here. Only been doing it for a couple weeks. And this channel, so deeply embedded with NBA for about, almost a year and 9 months at this point of doing that work every day. I need you guys to show some love to these MLB videos. And you guys have, but today especially, where we have more of an evergreen window, this video can be seen until 7 p.m. and still be mostly on point. Obviously, MLB lineups will move around. Date will move around, but let's take advantage today, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe. Help me get this video up a little bit more because it really would help out a lot in the channel as we're trying to get 2 pieces of content out a day. Check out Stokastic as well. All their data, 15% off with our promo code SPLASH, SPLASH. Big thing on there is you're not supporting a company, you're supporting me, an independent creator that needs your support more than ever here to get things off the ground for MLB. So please check it out for yourself. And really, you're supporting yourself too by getting great DFS lineups night after night. Realistic shots to the top 10, top 5, even first place if you are putting in the work and you're good at what you do in DFS. So Check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. Any package, weekly, monthly, or yearly, 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. And of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com. If you could spell splash, then go over to splashplaypodcast.com. Still can't buy splashplay.com. Unfortunately, looks like that domain's owned for another year, so one day we'll get it. For now, though, all my data, MLB, NBA. Actually, I'll read a chat that I got from our guy, Caesar, yesterday, saying your data and the way it's organized, it's exceptional. I've been getting a lot of benefit out of seeing things the way it's organized. The matchup matrix tab's insanely useful for me to write down all the notes to go through in the last 30 minutes. This guy's writing notes off my data. The fact it's multi-sport data and only $40 a month is quite good value. And that's a legit Discord I got from somebody at 12:40 a.m. on the East Coast. This guy works late. But point being, $40 a month, you get my MLB data, NBA data, my NFL best ball champion tool, which unfortunately underdog filled, but DraftKings, you can still use that tool as well on there. That's all part of one package for $40. So cheaper than anything else out there. Your Run Pures, your Saber Sims, your Stochastics, their cheapest stuff is all $100, if not more. For me, you don't get to build lineups directly with my stuff, but you use my data to inform what you're doing on other sites, what you're doing hand building and all that. So check it out for yourself at splashplaypodcast.com. And I do think you'll do better. Smash like harder than I do, baddies into the mat. Thank you. That's a way to turn a compliment for me, a positive engagement for me, into you bragging about laying pipe. We got our top pitchers today. Our thumbnail boy, Tyler Glasnow, the one that I'm a little bit yucked out by. Ownership is crazy high for Glasnow, given the slate that we have. And granted, it is not a good pitcher slate. We've had some slates this week where it's like, oh yeah, 3 pitchers with a 30% plus K rate. Pick which one you want. It's so fun. They all have big upside, even though they might have some fatal flaws occasionally. Glasnow, rock solid pitcher, lowest whip on the slate, best K rate. You get why he becomes mega chalk. That said, at 43% owned, if he does find a downside, if other pitchers just hit a ceiling more so, very easy to not need Tyler Glasnow, I think, on the slate. So Fields at 43%. I've got 36% across my 100,000 contest sims that I'm running at splashplaypodcast.com right before the show. I think Glasnow, rock solid play. I get why he's where he is. If you were playing MLB cash, and proud of you for being that much of a degenerate, I would say for Glasnow, great. He's your cash game play. For a tournament, though, trying the upside to other guys, taking less ownership there, or even being able to play like a chalky stack, being able to play whatever you want because you're not going to be matched so closely with the field by playing Glasnow plus that chalk. That's sort of the way I see Glasnow. Great play, best pitcher on the slate, but you got a lot of pitchers you could choose from and just roll the dice and hope one of them hits. 2 of them hit. Chris Bubich at number 2, 18.9 projection for me, a 16.4 for Stochastics. I'm a little bit higher today for Bubich. He is facing a lineup with only 2 guys that strike out over league average, and then Tanner Murray. Not a big enough sample size going against left-hand pitching. I presume that means he hasn't struck out at all yet, but he also hasn't really generated any power, just not doing much of anything. For how it looks for Bubich, though, he is a guy, 26% K rate. You are talking, probably your number 2, if not number 3 K rate guy on the slate. Counting for the matchup today, I'd have him at 25.9% projected K rate. But that's enough to get Bubich into a lineup. Again, I think he's a guy with KC as well, projected to win, most likely 4.7 implied runs for them, only 3.5 for the White Sox. White Sox have been looking better lately, but wind blowing in there, weather at 58 degrees, nothing to write home about, not going to meaningfully boost the production, playing in a park as well that limits home run power. I'm willing to play Bubich today at 8,800 and hope that the field's not there as much. Right now, field's at 22%. I'm getting 33. Connolly early here for Boston. Going against St. Louis team with only 3.6 implied runs. So not a great lineup for St. Louis generally, even though we have seen some higher Vegas totals for him in softer matchups. But early overall, 33% K rate so far. Only 120 batters faced. That number should come down a little bit. He's not giving up a home run at all, which is crazy, but a real showing of strength by him. That said, the 7% barreled ball rate, 39% hard hit rate. He's going to get hit hard at some point, I would think. The St. Louis team, probably not the one to do it, though. 2 guys in the lineup with over 200 ISO. 5 guys with above 100 WRC+. They're just not that great of a team, so don't mind early here. Think that the strikeout upside is noteworthy. My projection, 16.7, Stokastic at 16.2, and I think the matchup, too, with 5 guys striking out over league average, technically your best matchup here. There's not a lot of soft ones for any of the pitchers that are actually well projected today. Shao Pierre here. Spags the Goat. How am I doing? I'm doing well. We got 2 slates to get to. NBA's got every team playing, so it's been had to do a lot of work to get the data working correctly as well on the site. Fix some things that were a little bit of issues with displaying data for FanDuel and DraftKings, but we're always getting there. It's always a work in progress, making things as perfect as we can. And luckily for you guys, if you are signing up at splashplaypodcast.com, I am obsessive about whenever I see anything wrong, I got to fix it, and it's me and Claude hammering it out before the show. All right, we got Chad Patrick at number 4, $8,200 salary, 8% owned by the field. I'm getting 18. And for Connolly early, I skipped over his number, 23% for the field. I got 29. For Chad Patrick, I would say the stuff definitely not as electric as Connolly early's has been so far in a small sample size, but we have a much larger sample size of Patrick overall, putting up 540 batters faced, respectable 25% K rate, definitely a little bit above league average, respectable 2.6% on run rate. And he's also facing Washington, who does have a few decent guys. I always point out James Wood in particular. One guy who actually does put up really good numbers across the board. Dalen Lyle, CJ Abrams, guys that can hit right-hand pitching pretty well as well in that group. But Chad Patrick, I think, relative to a slate where you don't have a lot of guys that get strikeouts, he does get above league average strikeouts. He is facing a team with only 3.6 implied runs. So you got why Chad Patrick's popping up here for me. Only 7.6% owned. I don't think his arm talent, again, is as good as your top 3 guys, but still someone here with a low Vegas total and, pretty decent probability of winning. Milwaukee, 5.1 implied runs. Washington, only 3.6. Tatsuya Mai, 6% owned by the field. I've got 15% on him. Mai, gotta imagine we're not the biggest sample size yet. Only 37 batters faced. Electric strikeout stuff so far, though. 35% K rate. BABIP for him, I would say pretty unlucky as well. 350 BABIP, 460 BABIP against righties. Really unlucky there. Only 21 batters faced, but yeah, that's going to get better for him. He hasn't given up a home run yet. That'll change, but electric strikeout stuff for a guy at 8,700. Happy to take that shot here for a Houston team that's going against, Seattle. 5 guys in this lineup striking out over league average. So Amai, I think one of those guys willing to roll the dice on if you're going to get less than glass now. Playing guys that do have, limited sample size, massive upside, like Amai can be a good move. The whip, though, a little bit high. Walk rate a little bit high. So definitely think there's more volatility here. Feel like I don't want to lump all the Japanese pitchers in, but I feel like a little bit of Kikuchi to his numbers here. Kikuchi started the same way, like got strikeouts, but also got like banged up pretty hard by power. He's not getting hit by the power yet, but that can change. JT Ginn here. And also for what it's worth, his projected home run rate 3% here. It's assuming a regression to average, but he's not giving up one yet. JT Ginn here. Ginn, whatever. Ted Ginn, never forget. The Athletics at 6,300. Jeffrey Springs, massive day yesterday. I did not in the day to have that coming at all as he fanned through that Yankees lineup overall. For Ginn in this spot today, facing the Mets with 4.5 implied runs, looking comparably not good as it did yesterday for Springs, but 4% on run rate given up by Ginn and 560 batters faced. Good sample size. Some dangerous power there. Especially against lefties. 250 ISO is really bad. Mets not rolling out a lot of lefties today, only 3 of them, but definitely they can get some more going today against Ginn. Not a guy I'm super impressed by. I also wasn't impressed by Springs. Maybe the Athletics are moneyballing it again somehow. But 5 guys to strike it over league average in the lineup. Fields at 4%. I'm getting 17. I could happily not play Ginn and feel good about it. My projection is at 13.9 though, so it's 6,300. He will come up as a value play that sims decently well in my data. And Luis Gil, 13.8 projection for him, 6% owned by the field, 10% right now is what I'm getting the sim. Again, not a very exciting play, but the Yankees, I would expect to win today, though really another team that's kind of playing down to various competition lately. They have 4.3 implied runs, 3.9 for the Rays, not as big of a favorite as some other teams we've talked about. For Gil, you probably need to win for him to get there. Yeah, it's basically it. You probably need to win for him to get there. He's facing a team that only has 2 guys that strike it over league average, and Gill's stuff at 24%. It's above league average, but it's not super elite. Good amount of lefties in Tampa Bay's lineup too, and Gill is less effective against lefties. Yeah, I really don't think I'd get to Gill much if I'm only playing a handful of lineups personally. FanDuel, your top pitchers over there. Looks pretty similar here, except that Gill and Ginn flipped. But Glasnow, Bubic early, Patrick, all these guys coming up meaningfully here. Yeah, and that's that. Let's go to the top stacks real fast, guys. So we'll go game by game. Here's your FanDuel ones. For DraftKings, let's zoom out a little bit here. All right, we got Bubic and Glasnow coming up top. A Milwaukee stack. So Milwaukee, I have to admit, I'm a little predisposed to liking because they have popped in my data earlier in the MLB season with really low ownership and was part of the thing where I mentioned like the third day I did MLB lineups here, third day of the season, finished top 10 in one of the large field tournaments, only putting in, a couple of entries because I was on vacation with my wife's family. I can say my family at this point. I've been with them for enough years. But at this point for Milwaukee, like they've hit enough times for me that when they're popping up, I'm willing to listen here. They do have the highest sim ROI, and my ROI metric metric is worth noting is relative to average. So we got a bunch of teams in the slate. A lot of teams don't really grade out that well. So you are seeing more with positive ROIs here than you will see on a Stokastic sim, I think. But right now with Bubic and Glass now, they're the top combo I'm getting with Bowers, Mitchell, and Yelich in 5-man Milwaukee stacks. Early and Glass now coming up the most here with a positive ROI for 4-man stacks in Milwaukee. Bowers, Mitchell, and Yelich. Early and Glass now coming up here as well. So we are getting the strikeout stuff for early being a meaningful thing for me. My number 2 stack, it's not that far behind, is the Padres. Padres with Early and Glass now in 3-man stacks. Padres with Bubic and Glass now in 4- and 5-man stacks. Tatis, Merrill, Machado coming up the most in 3-man stacks. Tatis, Merrill, and Laureano coming up the most in 4- and 5-man stacks. San Diego, again, a little bit behind Milwaukee, but not so far behind that if, one or two guys are moved in and out of the lineup for either team, I think San Diego could end up being my top stack when we get to lock. Atlanta, a little bit of a jump behind here. I'd say they're safely at number 3. Bubic and Glass now coming up as a top ROI pitching combo alongside Riley, Yastrzemski, and Acuna in 5-man stacks. Riley Baldwin, and Acuna in 4-man. Same thing for 3-man stacks. But Atlanta looking pretty good. Giants, I'd say pretty close as well before another tier break. But your Giants 3-man, Giants 4-man looking good. Obviously, my data does like the Giants' ability to hit right-hand pitching generally, especially. Well, Devers not coming up in these groups. That surprises me. You feel like taking Devers here and hoping he drives success of the Giants lineup. So it worked out pretty well for them earlier in the week, but definitely getting the Giants popping up at number 4. So sure. Dodgers pretty close to the Giants here. I'd put them in a similar tier as well. Then Yankees, bit of a drop off. Cleveland, you can keep going down here if you want. Anyone else eyeing Patrick Corbin? He had 9 Ks in his minor start recently. I mean, it's a different level of competition, but I think he's going to be the first game up here, so we could go game by game now and talk about him. But guys, before we do that, one more ask. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really does matter a lot for me. I'm just one guy showing you my work as best I can every day across the MLB and the NBA. And look, MLB, sometimes we always talk about here, there's a lot of variance, especially on those 3-game slates. But the hope is that we show up and do the work as best we can day after day. We'll get the results we're looking for the MLB, much like we have all NBA season. So I'm strapping to do the work this entire MLB season, but I need your guys' support. Hit that like button and subscribe so we keep fighting the good fight against the YouTube algorithm, with the YouTube algorithm, but really getting seen by more people here for this new MLB content on the channel. Check out Stokastic as well. All their data, all their tools, idiot-proof good DFS lineups. You want to hop in there, play your guys, but still get good ROI versions of that. Stokastic will allow you to do it every single slate. Again, really all you have to do is like look up your tournaments, see who's finishing up top, see who's top 10, top 5, top 100 even. You'll see a lot of Stokastic avatars up there. So take that leap, check them out for yourself, pair my data with it if you want. But if not, use theirs and you'll be in great hands no matter what sport you're getting. And it's any package too with the promo code SPLASH, weekly, monthly, or yearly if you want to check it out for short-term or long-term. And of course, my site, splashlightpodcast.com. All the data that I show you guys here on screen is available to you at splashlightpodcast.com. So check it out for yourself. Really important if you want to see this video content continue on in perpetuity. The more you guys that sign up at splashlightpodcast.com, the better. I really do appreciate you guys for checking out now. Again, we had some good feedback from our guy Boston Caesar earlier, but I do appreciate everybody who checks it out. And sometimes the feedback won't be as generous. Like, actually, no, nobody really says anything shitty. They just don't renew. But either way, with MLB, brand new here, check it out. I keep adding new things every day, improving things every day as well. I've added now multi-slate support for MLB. If you're having that for NBA, I'm doing more and more for you guys to make sure you get your bang for your buck, even though it's already pretty cheap at $40 a month for VIP, $20 for the Squirt Squad tier. All right, Minnesota going against Toronto here. Patrick Corbin, number 1 pitcher coming up that we have to talk about in the game-by-game view. His strikeout stuff has been terrible the last couple seasons. 1,400 batters faced, massive sample size, only a 19% K rate, 3.2% home run rate. Can he be better coming off minors assignment? Sure, I guess. But here with 4.3 implied runs, not sure I'm crazy about stacking against him, but also a guy that I just don't see going to. So Minnesota, I think the stack probably more appealing than the Corbin side to me personally. But if you want to chase one game of results in the minors, you can. Bad park too. Like, it's really nothing for Corbin I'd really want to get into. Super big on him. Good weather though for a pitcher. 45-degree weather. Give him that. For Toronto, 4.9 applied runs, pretty decent total going against Simeon Woods Richardson. We saw Springer be a top protected guy hitting expected to hit in the leadoff spot for Toronto today. But Guerrero, Sanchez, Nathan Lukes, all decent enough hitters. Say in particular, Springer, Guerrero, Sanchez, your most appealing options. Varsho, I don't mind either. He's got some pop, but Woods Richardson, a guy, league average home run rate, a little bit worse than that. Strikeout rate, a little bit worse than that. League average, like, he's not a guy I'm dying to get super heavy amounts against. But I also think he's a guy on the slate. I'm probably not playing him. Obviously, with large field GPPs, a slate of this size, he can maybe pay off too. But Toronto here, nobody crazy owned. It's not a bad total. So I think the Toronto stack, probably the most appealing option in the game. Yankees at Tampa Bay. We got 4.3 implied runs here for going against Steven and Matz. Like we talked about here, Aaron Judge, my top projected guy in the slate. Obviously, he's been a monster. Going back to last year, you can look at the numbers yourself. The amount of green here, almost a 500 OBP is just ridiculous numbers for him going against left-hand pitching. God, just he really is a video game character. 440 ISO against left-hand pitching over the last couple seasons. Just nuts. That's really the big thing for Judge. He's facing a left-hander. He's been a monster against left-hand pitching. We talk about the phrase lefty masher, but like really, he is that 233 WRC plus against lefties last couple seasons. And my data goes back to 2024 because you want to build enough of a sample size for the hand splits. Matz against righties, 3.7% on run rate. Really just combining that with the fact that Judge has, I presume, an over 8%. 9.6% on run rate for Judge. That's why Judge is coming up so much for me. I would say his home run probability probably as high as anybody in the slate. And I would say if you want to compare it to something we talked about earlier in the week, Devers earlier in the week, similar thing here. But Judge is owned appropriately at 17% by the field. So that's really the biggest thing. I think Judge, rock solid play here, but more than appropriately owned at 17%. I think that 17%, though, pretty good shot of paying off. For Tampa Bay going against New York, Luis Gil, probably the more appealing option than Tampa Bay stacks. Gil himself, above league average strikeout rate, under league average home run rate. So usually not the kind of pitcher we're targeting for our stacks. But the Rays, slowly owned. So if they go off, nobody will be there. That can pay off on a short slate. What do you expect it to go off here? Probably not so much. Tampa Bay's park, though, does play incredibly well for power. So, it's always possible to go off when you're playing at Tampa Bay. Athletics going against the Mets here, 3.7 implied runs for the A's. We got Clay Holmes going against them. Not a great guy, 20% strikeout rate. The A's overall, decent average WRC plus at 124, decent average ISO at 204. They've got guys that can do stuff. But the weather, 53 degrees, Mets park not playing terribly well for park factors here, just kind of league average across the board. Not a great total for the Athletics, 3.7 implied runs. I'm not seeing the Athletics being a team that I would be really trying to get to, but Clay Holmes, definitely not a guy you're afraid of. Mets on their side, JT Ginn was popping up before. I think he's not a great pitcher. I don't think he's a guy that I'd be afraid to go against if he did have any real ownership for the field. That said, only 4% ownership projected. So for JT Ginn, probably not a guy I want to play, even though he was coming up a little bit of pitcher. For the Mets on their side, really think that stack, not bad. A bunch of guys under 10% ownership, and I don't respect Ginn, and he's going to could maybe pick up some more ownership as the day goes on. You probably won't get above 10, though, no matter what. I don't think you're getting leverage or anything by playing the Mets, but 4.5 implied runs against a pitcher I don't think is very great, and a very average bullpen behind him. That's not bad. Weather, though, not helping him out. Giants going into Baltimore, 4.2 implied runs. The weather, almost 70 degrees in Baltimore. Does help out a little bit. For how Baltimore is looking here, 4.5 implied runs. Giants, 4.2 implied runs. Shane Baz right now. It's a rolling sample for Tampa Bay. So, yeah, that would be the thing that you're getting in the data. For Shane Baz here, 4.2 implied runs. I'm not playing Shane Baz, I don't think, on the slate. 24% K rate, that was not awful. 1.25 whip, a little bit closer to being not good. Giants totaled 4.2 implied runs. Nothing impressive there either. I do think Devers, still a guy I'm willing to take as a one-off. Adames also can hit righties pretty well. 215 ISO for him up top. Decent batting average as well, and a big sample size of plate appearances for him. Yeah, Giants mini stacks. I mean, that was the part coming up the most for me. Same thing as the other day. Adames, Chapman, Devers, getting these guys against right-hand pitching that is not terribly impressive. I think that's going to happen in my data enough. But, even Young-Hoo Lee, Harrison Bader, Casey Schmidt, these guys are all okay down the order too. Araya is never going to give you pop, but he can get on base. I don't hate that Giant stack. I don't know if I should be as high on them in my top stacks tool as I am, but I do think the Giant stack looks okay. Baltimore stack going against Landon Rope on his side. Raup? Raup. I'm going to go with Raup. 22% K rate for him, 1.43 whip going against Baltimore and their 4.5 implied runs. Definitely strikeouts to be had here. 6 guys that strike it over league average. Probably one of your better matchups on the slate. We just don't have a lot of teams with 7+ today, as opposed to what we normally have. But Landon Raup here, not a great strikeout guy to 22% K rate. Doesn't give up a lot of home runs for a guy, obviously pitching a lot of his games for the Giants. Home run rate you expect to come up a little bit given the park factor switch here. Don't not expect him to get hit hard with only a 27% hard contact rate, 37% hard hit rate. But I think the Baltimore stack, not terrible. Gunnar Henderson, I feel like always getting a shortstop in with upside, hard to do. Don't mind him at 5,700. Beavers is playing well. Somewhat limited sample size. Taylor Ward's been good for a long enough time. Yeah, Baltimore, I feel like mini stacks more appealing than a full stack, but not bad weather, good park. Maybe a team I'm overlooking a little bit, but so's the field. I mean, nobody above 6% owned. Cleveland going against Atlanta here. Bryce Elder on the other side of Cleveland, their 4.1 implied runs. Elder not very good at a 20% K rate. Cleveland, nothing special here at that 4.1 implied run total. Weather is decently warm at 75 degrees. Park factors, a little bit of a plus as well, playing at Atlanta. Definitely not full humid ball flying out of the park weather at Atlanta right now, though. The wind's blowing out at least a little bit to center field. Yeah, Elder, I don't really think an option. Fields barely playing him at 6%. My projection lower than Stokastic. Cleveland on their side. Chase DeLauder has been obviously very good to start the year. The home runs have leveled out a little bit more after he hit every single one after popping in my model to start the season. Still has a crazy 520 ISO going against right-hand pitching, so maybe he could pay off again here. You got a lot of guys that hit a righty pretty well up top. Quan, not bad. DeLauder, Ramirez, obviously. Always going to be a guy you consider. Manzardo, Hoskins, even Juan Brito, very small sample size, hitting the ball pretty well so far against righties. Cleveland stack, it's not a great total, but I don't mind the guys within it. Atlanta on their side going against Slade Shoshone. On his side, you got 4.4% on run rate, under a league average K rate at 20%. Atlanta 4.6 implied runs. Don't think you're playing the pitcher in this spot. Atlanta stacks also looking pretty good. Again, weather's not bad here. Feel like you can play Cleveland and Atlanta stacks together and hope you get an outlier game environment. Yeah, Atlanta's top 5 looks good, and you can pair Dominic Smith with that if you want. Probably gets a little bit of a better matchup coming from the left side of the plate, at least in terms of the power given up. Yeah, Slade's been terrible. 220 ISO to righties, 210 ISO to lefties, and that's pretty good sample size. This game, honestly, I like this game more than I would have thought. Atlanta, obviously, I'm never opposed to. Like we talked about on other slates earlier this week, like if you give them decent park factors, you've got enough hitters up top. And Baldwin at catcher, I feel like has been a godsend for a lot of my lineups so far this season. But Acuna, always big upside. Riley, Olsen, Shremsky's not bad. I think they're a good stack. I think that's a good stack. Nobody above 10% owned either. Washington going against Milwaukee and Chad Patrick here. Chad Patrick, like we talked about, I think he's a guy I'm willing to go to. Also liking that Milwaukee stack, pairing that with Patrick and the assumption you can get a win. Definitely a positive thing to do. 4 lineups here. Weather not going to benefit the hitters at 44 degrees, but Washington with 3.6 implied runs, not a team you're going to get too much anyway. Yeah, Patrick gets barreled a decent amount, 9% barrel ball rate, 42% hard hit rate, as you can see over here. He's getting guys to chase a decent amount when he's not getting hit hard. So definitely some volatility, I'd say, for Chad Patrick. Good amount of lefties in the lineup. He is limiting power pretty meaningfully versus lefties, but does struggle a little bit more, giving up more walks, getting less strikeouts. Whip is a lot higher as well versus lefties. Patrick might get himself into some trouble here, but I don't think it's Washington stack could pay off. It's more of a concern, I think, for Patrick. Leaving the game early, getting blown up, something like that. Milwaukee, 5.1 implied runs going against Jake Irvin here. 18% K rate for Irvin, nothing impressive. Bad home run power, giving up a 4% rate to righties, 5% to lefties. And we do have a lefty-heavy lineup expected here with 6 guys in from the left side of the plate. Not great weather. Again, 44 degrees. It does impact both sides. But 5.1 implied runs for Milwaukee. I think you can... I'm expecting Milwaukee. They're my top stack right now. So I'm expecting Milwaukee to be a team I get exposure to in a meaningful way today. Nobody above 10% owned. They're popping for me. I do think you don't want to go crazy on a team that's not going to be super owned and just popping up with such a high ROI. If you're playing 150, like I wouldn't load up on Milwaukee in that, but I would make sure to get some if you're playing like me today, going to put a few entries in the big tournament, maybe play the 20 max. I think you want to get Milwaukee with their 5.1 implied runs going against Irvin and a bad bullpen. White Sox 3.5 implied runs going against Bubic. Bubic, one of the guys popped up the most positively in my data. I got to pull in sim numbers on this page too. That's my bad. For how it looks for Bubic right now, 19 fantasy point projection for me, definitely much higher than Stokastic at 16.4, but it does have one of the better K rates on the slate at 26% overall, 27% versus righties. He's not going to face a lot of lefties here, but 24% K rate is above average against his fellow lefties. Wind blowing in, not super hot weather at 58 degrees. All positives for Bubic, who's already not giving up a ton of crazy power anyway, getting guys to chase pretty well. Yeah, paired with that Vegas total 3.5 implied runs, I like Bubic. I wouldn't go White Sox. That said, if you want to fade me directly today, play the White Sox stack, and that's probably a way to do it. KC, 4.7 implied runs going against Davis Martin here. Martin, nothing special. 19% K rate under the league average here, which is about 23. Home run rate flat at league average at 3%. KC's lineup is pretty good. I mean, Bobby Witt, we talked about fading on that short slate. Think that worked out because he just didn't do enough. But on a big slate like this, it's 11% ownership. That's fine. I don't mind the KC stack. I don't think they're speaking to me as much as, Milwaukee with having just 0.4 higher runs. But, they're respectably owned here. Like, only Bobby Wood above 10%. Everybody else 6% or less. I have no issue going to KC here. I don't know that going against the White Sox heavy, especially the pitchers. Like, I don't know if that's the move this year. Davis Martin is just a dude. Just a dude. Boston, 4.1 implied runs going against Dustin May. Dustin May... Never been one of the greatest guys here, despite getting a lot of hype coming into the league. League average K rate under that, 21% for him overall. A little bit better versus lefties. Home run rate of 4%. That's not particularly good. Boston does have some dangerous power. Does have some guys that strike out. Those 6 guys in this lineup, or the projected lineup here, strike it over league average. Dustin May is pretty cheap at 6,200. But I don't have him well projected. And I worry about Boston power. You got top 4 guys all above a 120 ISO. Yeah, nothing really for me. I think that I would love in this game, but Boston stacks, I don't think ever a bad thing because they do have some positive volatility. I think that they can hit. Cardinals going against Connolly early. I like the early side a lot. Big strikeout rate so far, the 33% K rate. Even bigger versus lefties. 52% K rate versus lefties. I'll only see 3 today in that Cardinals lineup, but that's something. It's not going to hold, but definitely something there. For early overall, I think he's one of your better pitchers on the slate. Definitely popping a lot in my top ROI stacks, as you saw earlier. So I think for early, relatively cheap price tag at 7,700, having big strikeout stuff, that's something my data is going to reward. We are seeing some early signs of dangerous power going against him, like we always talk about in these videos, for guys that attack the plate, get strikeouts. It's always going to be a risk point. But I'd argue his BABIP a little bit unlucky at 360. I think that gets better. The batting average on balls in play. I like what early's showing so far, so I'm willing to be there early, no pun intended, in hopes that that works out. Low run total too for St. Louis and a shitty lineup, I think, are positives. But St. Louis not striking out like crazy. Only 5 guys that strike out over league average here for them. Boston stacks again for me. I mean, look, I think they are a team, like we talk about a lot here, is teams, the Yankees are probably your most high-level example of that, but teams that strike out a lot, teams that have power, the Angels are another one. Boston, I'd say, one of those teams. I think the hitters may be a little bit less good, but, top 5, top 4 looks pretty good for them generally. Houston going against Seattle, 3.6 implied runs against Emerson, Hancock. Hancock, not a great strikeout guy at a 17% rate. Home run rate above league average at 4%. Houston batters getting better for them potentially here after the really dud showing as Mega Chalk over and over again against Colorado. Park factor is not great here, but you still have good hitters. Not a great run total, though, 3.6 implied runs. You're kind of expecting a pitcher's duel, at least on that side. Imai, I like I talked about here, small sample size, high strikeout stuff. Want to take that risk, much like early here. but a 35% K rate going against Seattle. 5 guys to strike it over league average. Get attacking the plate against a team that does have a lot of power and it's probably due to hit better this season. Can be risky. Am I also, again, much like early, you're worried about early's walk rate. Am I with the 1.6 whip, 19% walk rate, a little bit of a lack of control there. But if it works out well, I think Amaya can pay off. So at his price tag, maybe you are paying for him being a better pitcher than he currently is, but I think there's still a ceiling there, especially going against Seattle, who like is going to try to bomb, or they're maybe going to give up some strikeouts here, at least for, a large portion of their order. Colorado 3.5 implied runs going against Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, not a guy I'm playing at this stage of things for him. Just doesn't get strikeouts. Does give up a lot of dangerous power. Used to be such a good guy keeping the ball down. But now his ground ball rate's higher than his fly ball rate, but then he's just getting whacked when he does give up a fly ball. Colorado's terrible, though. 6 guys to strike it over league average. I suppose if you wanted to play an aging pitcher who is complained vocally about the ABS stuff because he doesn't like that he doesn't get good calls anymore, you could play Walker Buehler, I suppose, and try to get that right. But yeah, not very exciting for Colorado or for Buehler for me. San Diego, a team popping up in a decent way, going against Sugano, who really has been one of your worst Japanese pitchers to come over. Obviously, playing a lot of games in Colorado is going to help as well. For his numbers looking bad here, but a 5% on run rate, 16% K rate, 185 ISO given up to righties, 220 ISO given up to lefties. All pretty bad stuff. Padres Park is going to be a lot, better for him in terms of keeping things at bay as opposed to playing at Coors, obviously. But a bad bullpen behind him too. I think the Padres stack looks pretty good to me. Tatis, we talked about being a top protected guy. Like, I think you could play stacks without him and you're maybe not, you still get there. But he's definitely one of your guys at a 5-man stack you're going to get to. We got Texas here going against the Dodgers last game on the slate. Glass now, chalkiest pitcher on the slate, 43% ownership expected here, so people can have some theoretical line of flexibility throughout the entire slate. Glass now, best strikeout rate guy on the slate, lowest whip on the slate. Again, if you're playing a cash game, you should be your first guy in. That side, we are playing a game with 22 pitchers. Not all of them are good. In fact, most of them are pretty bad, as we've talked about as well. But Glass now, I think that just being mindful of not getting too crazy above the field, or if you're playing, just the big tournament, throwing some lottery tickets in, play a couple of lineups without him. I think that's definitely what I would try to do for Glass down today. But in terms of floor, in terms of ceiling, going against the Texas team at 3.5 implied runs, you expect him to get there. Not a lineup that strikes out a lot. Only 3 guys that strike it over league average. But as we always talk about on here, very important to trust your pitcher's arms as opposed to worrying as much about a batting order that doesn't strike out a lot. So Glass now, 31% K rate. He's the best pitcher on the slate. 42% ownership, 43%, maybe a little bit much. Dodgers, 5.3 implied runs, going against Kumar Rocker. Rocker above league average home run rate, under league average strikeout rates, the kind of matchup that we don't mind going to. Dodgers, obviously a batting order that's got a lot of guys that can crush. You're paying premium price tags for it with Ohtani at 6,500, Tucker at 6K, Freddie Freeman now back at 5K. Your Freeland, Kim, Pages part of the Dodgers order is cheap enough and still can benefit from those better guys getting on base and just creating more at-bats as well. But yeah, I never will have an issue going to the Dodgers when they have over 5 implied runs. When they get to like low 4s and you're playing the Dodgers, I think that's probably when you're trying to force it a little bit too much. But that's our game-by-game breakdown, guys. I'll look at the sim win rates real fast for DraftKings and FanDuel. Then we'll hop over to Stokastic and see what they have for us. So top win rate, guys, right now on DraftKings. Glass now come up the most. Obviously, with the Fields ownership being so high at 43%, that does factor in a little bit. But right now, 36% sim win rate for him across my 100,000 contest sims that I ran right before the show. Chris Bubich, 33% for me, 22% for the Field. So he's coming up meaningfully above in terms of my data. Connolly early as well. Again, I would guess that if I'm not playing Glass now, probably getting Bubich an early a good amount. And we did see that in the top stack ROIs. Will Smith, hitter coming up at 21%, catcher at 4,200 in a game with a good Vegas total. I would get why he's coming up. Chad Patrick, rounding out the top 5. Then for FanDuel, Aaron Judge, 25% of the time he's making a winning lineup. Tatis, 23. Jose Ramirez, 22. Machado, pitcher, coming up so much less here. Glass now at 17%. My FanDuel data would fade the shit out of Glass now. That's the correct number, right, for Glass now? Because he's 42. He's 42.6% expected owned on DraftKings, 42.2 on FanDuel. Yeah, my data would really fade Glass now pretty meaningfully. So there we go. And then home run model real fast, because honestly, this is probably the thing that's the most correct every day. Judge, 49% chance of hitting home run today. Only 4 stars of confidence, though, because the lefty sample size probably not big enough for him going against lefties, rather. Shohei Ohtani, 44% chance here. Only 3 stars of confidence. DeLauder, 30%. Well, there's only one pitcher on FanDuel, but you still have 40% ownership expected for Glasnow on FanDuel, so I'm surprised I'm that low on him. Wilyer Abreu, he's pretty high for Boston here. And then Jackson Merrill, rounding out the top 5. Merrill higher than Tatis. I was actually going to say it, and I didn't say it out loud, but like I feel like Merrill and Tatis's numbers look pretty similar, even though Merrill is much cheaper. Any more reason to go to Merrill today? All right, let's go to Stokastic now, guys. We'll run their sim, see what they have for us. Check out the top ROI lineups. You see what my data has? Let's get a look on there. Oh shit, not 250 lineups though. That'd be silly. Let's build all 5,000, have them compete 10,000 times. Before we do that, though, one quick ask, guys. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Again, no matter what's going on in the world, I show up and do the work as best I can for you guys Monday to Friday, giving you takes on the MLB slates. Of course, my data tomorrow will still be updated. There'll be no show, no video, but I will have MLB data out. So if you want my data on a Saturday, you have to join at splashplaypodcast.com. But otherwise, Monday to Friday, MLB videos and NBA videos every day on this channel at Splash Play Bets. So please show some love back, because it has been a bitch getting this new video up and running. Just telling YouTube that all of a sudden, after a year and change of doing one video a day, and sometimes not even doing that for part of the year, now I'm doing 2 hours of content. It's been a haul, so you guys hitting that like button really does help out a lot, getting things where it needs to go on YouTube. Of course, Stokastic, you're about to see their top lineups here on screen, but get them for yourself. 15% off that promo code SPLASH. Any package, weekly, monthly, or yearly. Idiot-proof, great DFS lineups at your fingertips with that promo code SPLASH. And of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com. That's one you want to go to when you want my data to use it with the Stokastic, use it with the Saber Sim, use it with whatever, but also just be able to hand build better, be able to hand build with more confidence, knowing that you're getting 100,000 contest sims that will add value to what you're doing. Check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. 15% off every. No, what am I doing? I'm looking at the screen and trying to set stuff up. I'm an idiot. Join my site where there is no promo code, because you're saving so much money naturally. $40 a month for VIP, $20 a month for the Squirt Squad tier. Of course, Stokastic, you need a promo code. You want to save that money there because they're charging you what that product is worth. For me, I charge you a lot less than mine is worth, because I want to get you guys in there, get you checking out MLB data, NBA data as well. And of course, my NFL Best Ball Champion tool, part of the package, if you want to do some drafts, especially now that NFL draft is 2 weeks away. So we're going to have the big tournaments launching soon, and I'm pretty sure my product will win somebody a lot of money this year. Hopefully me. ROIs look terrible. Why? What is going on here? That sim ran faster than usual, and I'm worried something fucked up. Let me rerun this one more time, because that can't be right? A 30% ROI being number one? That's crazy. Do 2 hours of content that takes 8 hours of prep. Man, it really has gotten pretty onerous. The second I start doing stuff, I have to start prepping both slates, and I have to do them at the same time, so I'm bouncing from one to the other. Basically, if you guys notice, if you're on the Discord, you see my updates, but I update MLB first, because usually that's the first show. And then I'm like, as that's being sent out and like the Sims are running, I start doing NBA, and I have to go back and prep for both, and it's been a lot, but hopefully it's adding value. That's all I can do with my job here. Right, see, now the sim is running much slower, so I feel like we're going to get, hopefully, something more accurate here, because that was, like, immediate. I think it was just running off the 250 set, even though I refreshed the page. That's my guess. See, I'm not the only one with glitches. I'm not the only one that's got to fix shit. Yesterday on my NBA slate, Jalen Smith was getting Jabari Smith's projection on the NBA, and Jalen Smith's not even available. He wasn't even in my sheet, so... But that's because I'm pulling stuff from APIs now. So I'm trying to, not automate things fully, but like make it so it's a little bit more seamless. I can get more slates in and just make the projections. I don't have to worry about the pulling in stuff from DraftKings and FanDuel. All right, the ROIs got better, but not that much better. Your top ROI lineup now with Stokastic's data here. I get no interference from me. Tyler Glasnow, Walker Buehler, Will Smith, Lennon Sosa. This is a White Sox 5-man stack leading the way. White Sox popping up again for Stokastic after they did yesterday as well. Chase Meteroth, Miguel Vargas, Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, Luis Angel Acuna, Derek Hill, leaving 2,500 on the table in that top lineup, but a White Sox 5-man stack will do that. Number 2, you got Tyler Glasnow, Connolly Early, like those guys. Will Smith, another White Sox 5-man, 5-3 White Sox Dodgers stack. Will Smith, Lennon Sosa, Chase Meteroth, Miguel Vargas, Colson Montgomery, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Derek Hill. I mean, you are getting some very tasty Dodgers in this lineup. And I like Early, and obviously Glasnow, he's going to be owned, but you get why he is. Man, the White Sox part of it, I'm not there as much. Yankees 5-man stack up next. Tetsuya Mai coming up. Walker Buehler, Drake Baldwin, Shohei Ohtani, Jazz Chisholm, Ahmed Rosario, who smashed for us earlier in the week. Jose Caballero, Aaron Judge, Byron Buxton, Randall Grichuk. Number 4, you got Chris Bubich, Connolly Early again, Bo Naylor on this Cleveland, Texas 3-2 stack. CJ Kafis, Bryce Terang, finally some Milwaukee representation. Jose Ramirez, Corey Seager, Ronald Acuna, Dalton Varsho, and Wyatt Langford. Then at number 5, Yankees, Milwaukee 5-2. So we're getting a little Milwaukee in. Shane Baz, Dustin May, William Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt, Bryce Terang again, Jose Ramirez, Caballero, Aaron Judge, Stanton, and Randall Grichuk. Okay. No Milwaukee love. That much is sure. Stokastic did give you Miami up top. Yeah, they were giving you White Sox in Miami yesterday. So they are liking the cheap stacks lately in the Sims. Your top ROI player, Lennon Sosa, he was in a good amount of those top ROI lineups at 2,400. Clearly, you are getting the value today to get to your pay-up options at pitcher, it looks like. Randall Grichuk at number 2, 8% ROI. Jose Caballero at number 3. Ahmed Rosario at number 4. Edgar Cuero at number 5. Aaron Judge, positive ROI at 6. Stanton, a slightly positive ROI just behind him. Your highest stack ROI is at a 3-man. It's the Yankees coming up the most. I mean, I like that. Yankees, 4% ROI for them. Milwaukee, negative 2% ROI at number 2. Toronto at number 3, slightly negative 5% ROI. Your 4-man stack, number 1 is the Yankees, though it's all negative ROIs. Yankees, Toronto, and White Sox in that order. Your 5-man stacks, Yankees, White Sox, and Giants. All right, Giants come up a little bit. Milwaukee, not too far out of the top 5, but they're definitely not a top 5. Your highest exposure guys, Glass now, they're giving you 56% or 59% rather. Fields at 40%. So pretty big stand on Glass now. My data worried about Glass now's ownership. Stokastic saying embrace the pitcher variance and the fact that he's really the only guy with a good strikeout rate and a good whip on the slate. Connolly Early, 50% exposure. Fields at 20, pretty big stand on Early here. Strikeout rate stuff has been really good for him, but like Chunk talked about, like we talked about earlier, walk rate for him, for Imai as well. Like these guys are getting strikeouts, but they are walking a good amount with those strikeouts. Shohei Ohtani, 43% exposure. Fields 20. Never going to critique getting Ohtani here. Aaron Judge, 41% exposure. Fields at 15. You must be getting these guys as one-offs a little bit more, though. Stokastic did like that Yankee stack as well. And then Bubich, 19% exposure. Fields at 26. All right. I like Bubich more than that, but whatever. They're still getting some. Walking against lefties. I agree. Your highest leverage plays, Connolly Early, 31% more in the field. He's your number 1 leverage player on the slate, even though you are getting a lot of Glass now. You are getting more relative to the field of Early. Aaron Judge, 26% more in the field. Pretty big stand on your top pay-up option, top projected guy in the slate in my data. Shohei Ohtani, your other one, he's coming up a good amount as well, 23% leverage on him. Glass now, 19% leverage. Dalton Varsho, 11% leverage just ahead of Jose Caballero and Willy Adames. So some Giants coming up. Clay Holmes, big fade on him, negative 13% leverage. He's only making 2 lineups out of Stokastic's top 150. Steven Matz only makes 1 lineup out of Stokastic's top 150. That's negative 7% leverage for him. Chris Bubich, negative 7% leverage on him. He's still getting 20%, but the Fields at 26. Ronald Acuna, negative 6% leverage, only 2% exposure. Fields at 8. Then Chad Patrick, who I did like, but more so because he correlates with my Milwaukee stack. It's going to come up more than I'm comfortable with. Negative 6% leverage on him, only 4% exposure, and the Fields at 10. All right, let's sim out my top ROI lineup here as we always do for MLB, because a hand build in MLB is like pulling teeth. But let's try it out here. Let me see what I've got, because I don't even know. Hopefully I don't have to rerun the sim. Okay. All right, well, we're getting a lot of my guys. We're fading Glass now, which Stokastic Sim is not going to like based on what we just saw. But we're going to go Bubich and Early here. Bubich, number 1 in at pitcher. Early, number 2. Catcher is going to be Sal Perez. So we're getting some KC in. Then we're getting Goldschmidt at first base. It's not my Milwaukee stuff coming up as my top ROI one, but I'm just playing the top ROI. Chisholm at second base. We know the Stokastic Sim does like the Yankees. This is still technically a handy. This is your handy. Third base, Chisholm. No, third base Machado, sorry. Already got Chisholm at second base. Shortstop, Caballero. Oh, you're getting some Yankees in here. Outfield, we're getting Merrill and Laureano. No Tatis. That's interesting. And we're getting Aaron Judge as well. No Ohtani. That's the team here. A Yankees Yankees 4-man. San Diego 3-man. And then a one-off Sal Perez. Along with Bubic and Early. So Chris Bubic, Connolly Early, Sal Perez, Paul Goldschmidt, Jazz Chisholm, Manny Machado, Jose Caballero, Jackson Merrill, Ramon Laureano, Aaron Judge, 45% ROI. I'll take that. 0.2% win rate, 2% in top 10. That works. All right, they didn't shit all over my top ROI lineup. We did it, gang. Let me do one with Milwaukee. Let's see if it shits on my Milwaukee stuff. I've got a Milwaukee 5-man, which is my number 4 overall ROI. All right, we got Bubic and Luis Gil. Ugh. Well, I hate that, but we'll try it out. Catcher, Baldwin. First base, Jake Bowers. Second base, Bryce Harang. Third base, going Muncy. Oh my God, we can pick either Muncy. Let's go LA Dodgers Muncy. We got Hamilton. Hamilton is shortstop. Outfield, Yelich, Mitchell. So again, we're getting all that Milwaukee shit. And Sanchez. All right, here we go. We got Bubic, Gill, Baldwin, Bowers, Tarang, Muncy, David Hamilton, Christian Yelich, Garrett Mitchell, Jesus Sanchez. 31% ROI. Look, could have been better. Could have been worse. They weren't crazy about Milwaukee stacks. Weren't like down on them. So that's my Milwaukee one. I know you and Underdog are on the best terms. I mean, whatever. I don't want to do more for them. But my Best Ball Champion tool works for what it's worth for... I could do it for DFS. I'm not yet, though. The Best Ball Champion tool is only for NFL best ball drafts right now, and it works really well for that. I don't plan to support dailies right now because I just don't. It's not something I'm playing, and I don't really want to do the research for it. But if you want to do like your big board or whatever, big board style tournaments left, or Best Ball Mania coming up, it works for that, and it works for DraftKings. So that's what I could say. But yeah, I know MLB tool worth purchasing. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely can do dailies. I just don't have it doing dailies right now. That's something I could think about. Again, it really comes down to, like I said, same thing for WNBA. If 10 people sign up for VIP and they go, hey, I would love this feature, I would probably build it out and figure out how to support it. If only one person asks for it, like then, and they're not paying, then I just kind of go like, well, noted, but I'll think about it. But yeah, I don't know. The Best Ball Champion tool works really well though. So like it could do it. We just need to input different data, but yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Plugs before I get into the splash plays of the day, guys. Sorry, I know it's a question for one person. That's really slowing down the show. But I wanted to think through it here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. Really does go a long way for me here. I'm just one guy showing you my work every day for the MLB, for the NBA. It's a lot of work, but I do enjoy what I do. I enjoy when I can help you guys find some more value out of things. For MLB, look, I like when I get shit right. MLB is like, I feel like it's just a fucking dice roll some days. I'm still going to show up and do the work, still to give you guys my data, and we'll get some things right every day. Some things we're going to get blown up on. I think that's the nature of the beast here, but hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll be as candid as I can as always and give you guys the best leg up as I possibly can. Go check out Stokastic as well. All their data, all their tools, 15% off the promo code SPLASH. Link down below. Use promo code SPLASH and you get over there, and that's any package, weekly, monthly, or yearly. If you want to get MLB, you want to get NBA, you want to get an all-sport package, you do that as well with the promo code SPLASH and get 15% off. And of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com, when you want all the things I show you here on screen, all of my data, you can get it for yourself there. And that's for the NBA, MLB, and NFL all in one package. Anything I create right now is getting rolled up into one package. At some point in the future, maybe that changes. But for right now, if you're getting in there, if enough of you guys sign up, I'm happy to keep it that way forever. So please join right now at splashlightpodcast.com. Support the show, support what I'm doing, and get better data for yourself to pair with your Stokastic, with your SaberSim, or just hand build off of, and you'll get better results than you're getting right now. I can promise you that. All right, splash plays of the day. For me right now, it has to be that Milwaukee stack coming up the most. Right now, my top stacks, Milwaukee, San Diego, easy top 2. Atlanta would be number 3, Giants and Dodgers. You know, we saw it earlier, but I think that's the ones I'll build around the most. If I'm only putting in, less than 10 entries today in the big tournament, Milwaukee's probably the first one I'll try a shot on. San Diego would probably be the second. For pitcher, I do think Glasnow's overowned, but if you want to play him, I don't know he's going to fail you. Enough of the field might own him too, where like even if he gives you 20 points and he doesn't, hit the ceiling some other guys do, might still be enough to win. So won't poo-poo Glasnow, but I would like pivoting to Bubic and early if you can. Mai, I think also pretty interesting as well as a guy that does struggle with walks but can get strikeouts. But that's how that looks for me right now. Of course, the data will update as the day goes on, so please make sure to check it out at splashlightpodcast.com. Shout out Ricky here. Use the promo code when you signed up. I'm glad to hear that. It is easily found on Google as well, so that's been my goal to make things as good as I possibly can. But shout out to all you guys who do sign up from the YouTube video here, the promo code SPLASH. And I'll be back on Monday, guys, so stay tuned for date updates. I'll also be back at 2 p.m. for NBA if you want to catch that one. Going to be a chaotic NBA slate today with every team playing, and I've got every game projected as well, so I'm going to tighten those up right now. Gamble responsibly, guys. Even though it is always money time here on the Splash Play channels. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets on YouTube. On Twitter at Splash Play Pod. Will tell you whenever I go live as well. And I'll see you guys again soon. So enjoy your days. Good luck. And bye-bye. And go Brewers. Go Brewers. Go Brew Crew. All right. See you later.